Hey, the internet, y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to kill.
He's the one that's tied to the dude that makes the loaded dice. Right? Check the play out. All entertainers, when you go to Houston, stay away from J. Prince Jr. The whole play going on. Here go the play right here. The play is the loaded dice.
Following the shooting death of Duke the Jeweler in Houston during a high-stakes dice game, 50 Cent reportedly startled the internet by disclosing fresh information that connected J. Prince Jr. and Boosie to the crime setup. Strange text exchanges, surveillance screenshots, and timestamps showing planned movements on the night of the murder are allegedly included in the compromised files. The sheer volume of people demanding justice as hashtags like #JusticeForDuke gained traction and astounded followers. Despite the silence from Boosie and J. Prince Jr., the mounting evidence is generating a lot of attention. In the event that these facts are accurate, the unsolved case might change completely. The velvet table was covered in blood-stained dice. The faces of all were smiling, but only one man would survive the night. The jeweler Duke didn't die broke. Amid wolves with ferocious smiles and hidden agendas, he died. The blood that Mob Ty is currently handling is not the first time federal investigators have seen it. It was a successful heist. Just minutes before, Duke was killed by individuals he had already dabbed up at a drunken hosted dice game, not by unknown attackers in a dim alley. The grins disappeared in a flash, as if the same hands that had once clasped each other also communicated coded warnings. People are sweating now who were there that night under the direction of federal authorities. 50 Cent as well? He will not be silent. He's adding fuel to the fire by posting images, invoices, and mysterious descriptions that suggest Duke's death was premeditated rather than an accident. That is what makes it more eerie. The table had been shut down at AJ by Duke. Prince Jr.'s event had only been 2 weeks old when Takeoff tragically died during another dice game. It's frightening how identical they are. When the wrong man prevails, it seems as though bullets are the next step. Investigations into Boosie, J. Prince Jr., Lil Cam, and the Mob Link Circle are still ongoing.
Man, Lord, man, about to drop. Oh, you that nigga gonna have $1,000 on here.
What started out as whispers has now turned into official federal heat. How, however, could a harmless game of dice become a death sentence? To comprehend that, we need to go back in time. At first, Duke the Jeweler seemed invincible. A self-made Chicago native, full of confidence, was bursting with success before the stakes died. There was more to the streetwise sensation Duke the Jeweler than that. He was known in the jewelry business for making one-of-a-kind pieces for wealthy customers, not just YouTubers or SoundCloud wannabes. Among his clients were powerful rappers and wealthy CEOs. This trip to Houston was not in order to unwind.
Even when I got my chain stuck, go through hard time, but we know that what made us. Can't blame us, we love the script, cause that what paid us. Yeah, ain't gonna ask, I know them niggas laid on. I call Key like get the pressure going where I'm up. I can't even find know how many nights I'm staying up.
According to insiders, it was all business. To negotiate a new, confident, high-end custom order, Boosie went straight to Duke. Having loaded his $1 million Louis Vuitton luggage with expensive diamond sets, the Duke headed south. Duke didn't realize, though, that this trip might be more of a setup than a sale. Even he was unaware of the background's true ominousness as his final hours approached. It wasn't just a friendly game of dice that night. Audio leaks released. By WAC 100, a Deep Street intelligence group revealed that the table was a fake. WAC asserts that J, the circuit that Prince Jr. uses, is now known as a loaded dice circuit. In this little street activity, the three participants are always the same: Lil Cam, Big Capri, and a guy he gave Wolf a call. They rotate the dice, and these three control the flow of the game as if they were passing holy objects. This pattern is simple. The house wins every time, with the exception of when the dice end up in the wrong hands. The rules were broken that night by Duke. He rolled the modified dice, caught the rotation slip, and soon started winning. His modest, great, and enormous hits destroyed thousands. It moved. The smiles ceased. Those who established a system should not be mocked when you violate it. Their grip is tighter. Chaos ensued. Longtime watchers and street insiders say that 30% of each dice game's earnings are allegedly kept by Prince Jr.
He was walking to his car, some dude tried to rob him. Some dudes tried to rob him. Some dudes had tried to rob me and walked off by himself. I had just met dude yesterday. Try to ride, dude must ain't get up.
Spokesman Flight Zach, we're number 2 for departure. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin.
Just met dude.
This suggests that pure luck was not the cause of Duke's enormous victories. Every dime he had earned that evening was being used. Such wrath is not ignored by a system that counts down each dollar before it is earned. Duke donated a portion of his salary as well. Gleaming brightly, he informed his fans at every turn. Wearing jewelry, he smiled boldly, continued to take pictures for Instagram, and tossed out piles like flyers. But the video gives away the most disturbing clues. The video from that night can be slowed down to hear Boosie's little loud whistle. Innocuous until you watch what happens. His nephew looks straight at Duke as his head turns. Then a man in a red hoodie taps the nephew gently on the arm. Another gesture that, when seen in the context of the greater whole, might have no meaning. In a matter of seconds, the vibe in the room changes. Duke can get tired of laughing easily. The sound of the dice hitting the table was no longer funny. You could practically sense the change in weight, as though the air had become heavier. A countdown like someone secretly organizing something. Duke the jeweler left after a few minutes. Not a silent exit, but execution. This makes one wonder if this was a ruse to look like a dice game.
The entertainer invites him in. Act like he's covering for him, hanging out, everything is cool. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go here, let's go there. He introduces the dice game. He got 3 right, who rotate the dice. Now these dice is loaded. Tell me it's a Wolf, Big Caprice, and watch this, and Little Cam are the loaded dice rotators, right? He said what? There was a situation that occurred that a certain jeweler round and got past the dice on accident and was hitting on them for a couple hundred. They got irritated about that. I ain't gonna go too far into that story because, right, boom. The only way they could get their money back was however their money back. He said, but Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice are the 3 designated to say I'm up, I got the next, and they pass the dice to each other, but they loaded, but they shoot.
There are more eyebrows raised by a second layer. It was at a town like Houston that Boosie, a multimillionaire with decades of experience in the industry, lured a famous tourist into a dice game with more than $1 million in ice and no apparent security. Either it was an error or it was intentional. Moreover, where was Jay's purported protection? Junior Prince? Why was an out-of-town jeweler who frequently moved bulky objects left unprotected? These questions are not just theoretical. They were now concentrating on mafia ties, and their warning signs were pointed straight at the government. However, when Bowie initially emerged after Duke's death, his face was anything but innocent. He had a pale appearance, anxious and troubled, like someone who has just seen a plan go awry. The fact that Bowie was already under investigation by federal authorities due to previous legal matters was more than sufficient. But after Duke's passing, the federal government made the decision to investigate this case as a separate federal homicide. There will be no more delays or detours. Duke the Jeweler's death is the sole objective. The Fed's first major move was to track down Duke's final cell phone activity. Bowie's recording studio was the source of the last ping on his phone. Duke's phone must have gotten there somehow because Boosie's group also had it. It wasn't particularly pretty. The situation was made worse by the fact that the phone's thief did nothing to delete or dispose of it. It simply went dark after that. Ping suggesting that it was most likely turned off on purpose. In addition to raising suspicions, this angered federal agents who detest negligence. Following a comprehensive forensic examination of Duke's hired car, they found the damning fingerprints of Boosie's cousin and nephew. Instead of being an unforeseen violent outburst, the strategy now seemed to be a premeditated action. Then the witness, who happened to be smoking outside the building, showed up. This witness told investigators that they saw Duke walking alone toward his car and seeming at ease.
It was a jeweler. I gotta do my research, see what jeweler might have been down there shooting dice. But nevertheless, to all the entertainers, you know, Dukes of Hazzard was one of my favorite shows, right? I don't know if y'all watched it. I was thinking about Daisy Dukes for a reason. I don't know why I said that. You know, one might go with it, may not go with it, but I don't know. If the math is math, and let it math. But entertainers, beware of with Jay Prince Jr. when he talked about let's go shoot some dice. Because the loaded dice crew of 3 Cam Wolf and Big Caprice. We know Lil Cam in there because I believe somehow, some way he was caught up in the dice situation. Rest in peace, Takeoff. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know this, Jay Prince Jr. got a whole thing that when y'all come into town, hold on, bro. Didn't they say Fifth Ward earlier that day shooting dice?
Yep, that's a fact. That word been out, Wack. That word been out. We been had that memo.
And then, so I've been getting hit all day, and it got to the point that the thing, Quavo like, Daddy, it's a dice. That's what this nigga Jay Prince Jr., boy, these niggas got all kind of shit going on down there. They say, he said the jeweler nigga got past the dice. He didn't even know the motherfuckers was loaded. He just think he hit. These niggas is mad as a motherfucker, cause they like, nigga, how you pass this nigga the loaded dice on us?
Then, as though he had been waiting for it, Boosie's nephew appeared out of the darkness. The witness said Duke had a feeling things weren't quite right. For his own safety, he must have swung first, but it was too late. Boo's nephew allegedly squeezed the trigger in a single move. And then the worst thing happens. They made no attempt at robbery. No money or valuables were taken. Duke's belongings were left behind. There were no robberies. That made me stop talking. Additionally, the team did not try to hide the evidence. After that, they kept the luggage. It's not just being irresponsible, it's arrogance. Who else was able to see right through that bluster? Observers claim that 50 Cent started disseminating subliminal warnings and street rumors right away. Because when someone enters Houston's dice scene from outside, the same unspoken rule usually applies. Remember to check in. If you're not looking, others are. It is understood even though it isn't mentioned in any contract or handbook. There is an unwritten law on Houston streets. Any athlete, influencer, or passing skill would be advised to check in with Jay Prince Jr. and his connections. To the mob, the rule has been a silent specter above us for years. However, reality is beginning to emerge. But what if the individuals you're supposed to check in with are also plotting a murder? Duke took part in a dice game that Jay hosted. Prince Jr. in the same way, he conducted the infamous dice session that led to Takeoff's demise. With body bags in hand, the two men traveled on 2 different evenings. A society that once appeared to be protective is now beginning to resemble a control network. Why do murders occur at Jay? If Prince Jr. really does control the city as he claims, why do his parties keep getting more intense? The conflict is upsetting. The entertainment industry, artists are reportedly retreating. Houston shows are being quietly dropped by labels. Events that were once driven by celebrities are now being subtly phased out. The Mob Ties brand, which once stood for street cred, is losing its appeal. Even if there is a lot of stillness, one person is not remaining mute. The company is closely examining 50 Cent because of his mysterious movies, bold assertions, and direct warnings. According to some, he is disparaging these street legends in an attempt to become lucky. Others believe he's only conveying what no one else can, that beneath the smoke and diamonds, something more sinister and evil is happening. And that brings up Bowie once more. Federal agents are reportedly putting forth more effort. In addition to removing Duke's case from their queue, Boosie has initiated a focused inquiry that will last till that very evening. Investigations are underway into his bank records, his son's digital footprint, and the estate's monitoring apparatus. But the biggest spark might have originated in his own home. Street sources claim that when Boo's girlfriend claimed that Bowie had returned to the building that night, looking angry and hiding something, she might have been lying. Nevertheless, Boosie has been pretending to be ignorant in public ever since. The quiet is getting louder as the folks seated at the dice table are forced to play a progressively risky game, one in which every action is tracked and every secret has a cost. The question being posed on the streets right now is simple yet explosive. And if Bowie falls, who will he bring down with him? Since it's not a solo performance, Boosie is followed everywhere. Now, Takeoff, whose identity is already being closely scrutinized after his death, is linked to J. Prince Jr.'s name, cousin and nephew. These connections weren't created at random. The dice table is the primary goal, and all of these overlapping threads lead back to it, but it doesn't end there. 2 penalty points. Right now, a once proud Mob Ties affiliate is rewriting history. He used to criticize Prince Jr. in every interview, but nowadays he rarely does. It's no accident. It denotes a significant shift in loyalty. Inside that camp, something broke, and the devastation is now visible. At first, the gap seemed to be a silent receding. Finesse stopped speaking to Mob Ties. Displays, backstage access, group appearances, and promotional runs are prohibited. They paid attention. The whispers increased in frequency and volume at that point. Insiders also say that a woman, specifically Fitness Baby Mom, was the driving force behind it all. But there was more to this than interpersonal conflict. She and her mother are said to have set Finesse up, phoned the police, and jailed him for breaking his probation a few months earlier. That prudent choice nearly cost him his life. But he was out as fast as he had come in. J. Prince Sr. took charge at that point. Sr. collected information, developed the necessary contacts, and placed calls behind the scenes. Finesse was released 2 weeks later. There should have been a consolidation of loyalty. But instead of being appreciative, Finesse gambled. He went straight back to the same woman. That was the rupture point, Jay, when Prince Sr. had enough. He didn't hold back. He tweeted it out loud so that everyone could hear him say it. Loyalty has boundaries was the slogan that caught on. There is no such thing as unconditional protection. If you cannot honor the hand that saved you, you are no longer part of the circle. This was more than just a public outcry against the individual. It gave a wave. The coalition of Mob Ties is breaking down from the inside. The once exclusive circle of power is being torn apart by internal betrayals, legal exposure, and an increasing lack of response from former allies. The more names that are connected, the hotter it gets. He should avoid that girl if he truly cared about his life, I advised him. It acted as a warning. It wasn't simply advice either. It was a survival problem. However, it didn't interest him. Even after they intervened to save him from going to jail, he never got the lesson. The dominoes are currently tumbling rapidly. This is not only about bad decisions. This is due to the fact that waning commitment can cause relationships to end abruptly. The foundation might be threatened by a new rumor that is making the rounds. A number of rumors claim that J2 women might have been conceived behind Prince Jr.'s back. Even without declarations, DNA, or confirmation, Finesse's silence says more than words ever could. Supporters started forming relationships. Prince Jr. is currently juggling a falling out with Takeoff's family. a contentious private relationship with Boosie, and a convoluted public divorce. The drama is no longer isolated. It is an intricate web of eroding loyalty, crumbling trust, and unbridled power. People are beginning to wonder, how many bridges can one man burn before the entire empire falls apart? This is the reality. Your system of quiet, coercion, and hidden leverage can be overthrown by one person breaking the silence, one defection, or one voice. The instant they say it, it's over, whether they're speaking to a buddy, a former ally, or a pressured artist. Therefore, who will break first? Will drunk federal agents force it into a corner, separating Georgia from his Baton Rouge estate? Will Finesse eventually reveal the months-long rumors to the public? Will J. Prince Jr. felt pressured to crack the code and speak up to save himself because of 50 Cent's frequent remarks and digital traces? Did he give in? The collapse is already occurring, so we must not deceive ourselves. The federal government does more than just examine things these days. Every action is being monitored, every penny is being logged, and everyone is watching. This has nothing to do with rap fights. RICO is the energy level. It's composed, methodical, and strategic. We refer to it as retraction. The artists are vanishing. The once unbreakable ties within the mob seem to be eroding. If the rumors are true and Duke's killer was caught on camera, the only question left is which party, the federal authorities or TMZ, will get the footage first. Anyway, if you're interested in this subject, please remember to leave a remark after the tape drops. Do you think the Mob Ties company is going through internal disintegration? Which one of Jay, Boosie, or Finesse flips first? Junior Prince? Please click the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you want to be informed. Don't forget to watch the next video as well. It is more profound than